Hello, good evening, everybody. And I'm still no haircut. I am no. I'm without. See, Duncan's there. See, next to me. See, and he ain't got no issues about that. But I have, and I'm still trying to get my haircut. And today, someone said to me, "Oh, Steve, you're growing grey hair, in your hair." So there you go. It's probably old age creeping onto me. And anyway, everybody, I've got Duncan back again tonight. And hello, Duncan. Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening. And tonight, really want to talk. I want to finish off what we've been talking about the last few weeks about counselling. The schools are going back now. How's it been for you this week?
There's been a slight delay in us going back due to the fact that the Academy Trust that we work for had a cyber attack. It's been quite a big cyber attack. One or two people may have seen it on the news. It's affected a number of academy schools. So many of the young people that I work with didn't actually go back until yesterday, and that further impacted on their own sort of anxieties and worries. So I've had discussion with a lot of parents today about how tough the parents have been finding it, and one or two people from school have called me to say it's going to be a busy week next week, and we're fully prepared for that. So first day back for me in school will be Tuesday, and that'll be the first time I will have been in a school environment since the second week in December. So it's it's going to be a real challenge. Lots of people finding it difficult, pastoral team finding it difficult, teachers finding it difficult, parents finding it difficult, not least the young people are struggling to get their heads around it as well.
Yeah. So how are you kind of like so? When you do go back and everything is sorted out, what do you think that's going to happen? Do you think there's going to be a lot of school children going to come to you and who has got a lot of problems, or do you think that everything will be kind of like go back to normal and it'll be occasional?
No, I don't think it's going to be normal at all. I think we will feel the repercussions of the last year. Because it's not just the last lockdown; it's the whole year has impacted, and the thing is, we go back next week. We've then got 3 weeks until the Easter holidays, so we're just going to get young people settled. We'll just get them balanced. And then they're having 2 weeks off for Easter, and quite rightly so as well. Nobody's saying we should take that away. But what's going to happen is we're just going to get them settled. They're going to have 2 weeks off, and then the anxiety of first day back is going to happen again, after Easter. And I don't think we're going to gain a great deal over the next few weeks, other than just, having those reassuring conversations with people to say, we're back now. What do we need to do to make the best out of the situation and make it, as life as best it can be for those young people to crack on. Then of course we've got after the Easter term, we've got the time when exams would have been, and there's a lot of people, particularly particularly those people who were due to take exams this year who are feeling cheated. And we spoke about that last week. They're feeling cheated because arguably the last 10 years of their life has been working up to this point where they're going to face the exam room. It's almost like a rite of passage, and they're not going to get the opportunity to do it. And it's easy for us to think, oh well, that must be great for them. They don't have to do their exams, but it's really affecting them, and they're really feeling punished by it. So certainly for the older children, the year 10, the year 11, I think we're going to have a lot of exam grief. And I'm talking about grief as in something that didn't happen, almost like grief and loss. And then, it's going to be the summer before we know it. So, it's going to fly by, and only in September, with the prospect of not having any further lockdowns or school shutdowns, will I think things start to get a little bit balanced. It's going to be such a long process.
And how is that affecting your business?
At the start of the year, there was the prospect of, I would say at the start of the year, 2/3 of our business was young person centered. And the schools didn't know how they were going to deal with it. They didn't know that they could, outsource through video, and that's thankfully that's kept us busy. I think I think we're in a strange situation where more people than ever need mental health support, need counselling, or are identifying they need counselling, and are reaching out. We're seeing it reaching out to organisations like Active Listening Therapies, assuming that through their GP they can have free counselling.
Right.
And I think we will see less people. Arguably, there's less dispensable income right now, so less people paying for counselling, despite the demand, despite the fact that people will want it. And I think more, certainly for us, it'll be more school. I would say, as of next week, 95% of our business will be dealing with people under 18.
Okay.
So in that sense, that's good. That's good for us because we're going to be kept busy. But I do think there is going to be a massive shortfall in what people can be offered, the kinds of service that people can be offered. People do assume that counselling is a free service. We live in a world where we go to the dentist and arguably, we don't pay for the majority of what we have done. The state pay for it. There's this notion that counselling is a free service also. Yeah. And there are plenty. Let's be clear. There are plenty of GP referral and charities and free services. However, the waiting list for those organisations are going to be exacerbated, and I think people will begrudge paying And I have seen it. There are counsellors who are putting up their prices now because they see it as a supply and demand thing. We have maintained our prices. We will continue to maintain our prices this year.
Mm.
And you know, we can't. We're a limited company. We can't provide free counselling.
No, no.
But it does tug sometimes. It does tug on the
Yeah.
heartstrings.
How can active listening therapies help people more than other people that can't? Can you tell us?
Yeah, I mean, the we blog regularly. We come on here regularly. We tweet. We put Facebook posts out. I like to think that through the positive awareness and the signposting that we have on our website, people can find access to mental health um, through other routes. People can come here and talk to us, and that's great. But you know, once we are full, and then we have to have a waiting
Mm.
list. But if somebody calls and says, you know, I'm desperate for some intervention, then I say have a look through our website, have a look, click through to Mind, click through to Young Minds. There are a whole host of organisations that have got
Mm.
really good support online, where people can just do it in their own time. YouTube is a wonderful thing. Have a look at
Yeah, but
what's online.
that's all in good. That's all in good and about getting free counselling. But our active listening therapies, you're there as counsellors, professional counsellors, and you can be there. And what services do you supply? Do you supply to people? Because someone probably listening now and they're saying, right, I need a counsellor. I'm going through a really bad time at the moment. I'm going to go so and so. So they just saw you stuck up. What can you actually give them? What can you actually supply to them?
Yeah, so I guess
Do you have an open door policy?
in terms of the kind of people we would deal with, or the kind of cases that we would deal with.
Well, both.
Okay, so a client would make an inquiry, either through the website or pick up the phone, drop us an email, and we will say, come and see us for an assessment. So we will do an assessment. Now, counselling is all about building that relationship. And when you're paying for it, if you don't like, let's say you go to your GP and you don't like them, that's one thing. But when you don't have to pay for it, you almost put up with it, and you accept the fact that they're kind of there to help. With a paid service, somebody can come through our door and decide that they don't like me, or they don't like Louise. And that's okay. We're not going to take offense if somebody says, actually, I don't think that you're the kind of personality that will work well with my needs. That's happened occasionally. And I appreciate a client's honesty for saying that. If we get over the fact that actually a client thinks that they can work with us, having spoken to us, then we will do an hour and a half assessment, whereby we run through everything that is going through their mind for what they can, and it'll be a mutual decision as to can we work together. A mutual decision in the sense that the client will say, yes, I can work with you, and a mutual decision in the therapist sense, mine or Louise, to say that actually we are capable of dealing with the kind of circumstances that somebody is going through. So things that we have a lot of experience in: grief and loss. We've both spent 2 years working in a grief and loss charity. Obviously working with young people, working within self-development and employee assistance. So businesses can come to us and say, actually, I need to get the best out of our staff at the moment. How can we do that? Adoption and fostering. We have experience of that and that process. Working with social workers. There has been occasions where complex post-traumatic stress. I've had somebody come in and they've said, I just don't think your experience is going to fit with what I need. I've not done extensive training in PTSD, so I would look at that person's circumstances and say, am I better off making a referral to somebody within the network of counsellors that I know? And that's good for me because I'm not clogging up my time with somebody who I'm not 100% sure that I can work with. So there are things that I might say to a client, you know what, I'm not comfortable in working with you, or I don't have the level or depth of experience that you might want for a particular subject. Sometimes it happens, and sometimes the client will say, yeah, I understand you might not have the depth of experience that I'm looking for, but actually I like you. For me, that's more important. That relationship and working in the here and now. I'm a person-centered counsellor and a solution-focused counsellor. So that works on what is best for that person right here, right now. There are lots of other modalities, psychodynamic, where you can go back. Lots of other ways of working. But a client will say, actually, just working with me in the here and now and just talking through my circumstances and helping me move forward actually is of more benefit than concentrating on what might be causing there might be such a deep-rooted issue that they might not even know. And here's me saying, actually, I think we're going to refer. That might frighten them. It's a real fine balance, Steve, because actually they might go, no, I've come to you because they might have a friend or a relative that's been to see me, and somebody said, you know what, go and see Duncan or go and see Louise. They've really helped me out over the last 6 months, and they might want that. They might have gone to see 2 or 3 other therapists that they don't feel comfortable with, whom actually may have more experience or a better depth of understanding in the field of what they need than I have. But still, the client will go, actually, no, it's you I want to work with, because it's about the here and now and the personality, and you just make me feel comfortable. So as much as I can say, I'm probably not the right person for this, if actually the bond is there and that's the most important thing for the client, then who am I to say, well, don't come and see me? Because that they've made a decision based on feeling warm and comfortable and safe in my clinic.
But also, surely people come to see you because, one, it's got to be a trust between both of you. Confidentiality's got to be a must, and also probably the cost. When people come to you and they say, "I want counselling doing," and you probably say so much per hour, or say, "I don't know."
Yeah.
And and there's other people that probably hasn't got very much money and they can't afford it. Do you do you kind of like accept people like that as well?
Again, it's there's an ethical um, there's an ethical dilemma and an ethical boundary for letting people have counselling for nothing. So, for instance, if I've got a fairly full caseload of people who are paying me my full rate, and then somebody comes along and says, "Do you know what? The past couple of weeks have been really tough, and I can't afford it. I'm in a real difficult situation, and I could really do it. Could you just chuck me three sessions for nothing?" How does that look at toward my commitment to the clients who pay me when I allow somebody just to come in and have counselling for nothing?
Yeah.
Now, ethically, it would be as a business owner, as a director of a business, I can make a decision whether whatever I want to charge somebody.
I'm not trying to butt in on anything, but what it is, I'll tell you why I mentioned this. It's because a lot of people have lost their jobs, right? They lost their jobs, they lost everything. And at this moment in time, they probably need counselling. So I was thinking, if they came to you and said, look, Duncan, Louise, I'm in thinking I need help. I've lost my job. I know you're a business and I know you got to make money. And is there any other way these people who needs help or counselling can kind of get the funding somewhere else to pay you?
That's a really difficult. I mean, I if somebody was struggling first and foremost and had a job, for example, I might say to them, we could invoice, your employer. You might want to get your employer to give me a call, and that might be a conversation. Again, it's a confidentiality thing.
Yeah.
It's it's not something that I could say, "Oh, leave that one with me, and I'll go and find out." And again, my time needs to be focused on clinical practice rather than finding the money.
Yeah.
However, it comes down to pointing people in the right direction. So there are plenty of charitable organisations that have match funding or free, and I would
No,
send them
but
over to.
yeah, forget about the other charitable whatever funding. But is active listening therapies actually got a way? If people came to your for counselling, have they got a way of kind of like getting the help so they can fund in? Because don't forget what we've been through at the moment with all the the COVID situation and everything. There's a lot of people out there who probably does need counselling, but they don't know where to turn.
Absolutely, yeah. As I say, I'm not a funding financier, or anything. There are in Newark, there's some charities, CVS, I think they're called, or places like that, that you can go to find funding like that. But I guess fundamentally, there would be an ethical issue for me to provide free counselling.
Yeah, that's fair enough. No, that's fair enough.
Toward my other clients. There's a massive debate, Steve, a massive debate.
Yeah, I know.
As to are you, you know, people are struggling with the shopping, when they go to a supermarket, do they get to the checkout and go, do you know what, I can't pay for this?
Right.
And I
Okay.
don't,
Let's go to the people for a minute, right? We got some people here who wants to kind of like ask some questions, right?
go for it.
Right.
Go for it.
We got James from Middlesex. Hi, Steve and Duncan. Thank you, Steve, for the. Oh, that's fine. That's fine. Not a problem. Don't worry. I, Steve and Duncan. I just lost my job and I'm needing some help. But the trouble is, I've been told to go to see a counsellor. But again, Duncan's right. At the end of the day, he's got a business, and he needs to make money, not give out freebies. But there's some charities out there at the moment are so booked up with people through this coronavirus, and some people have stopped taking people. Don't know where to turn to. Can you help?
Yeah, absolutely. The first thing you need to do in that instance is to talk to your GP, because the NHS services will be available. What their lead times will be and what their offer will be, quite a lot of the time it will be 6 sessions of CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, which is very much a change the way we think in a short-term way.
Is that a cop out?
It's going
Is
to
that a cop out? Is CBT a cop out then?
CBT's ACE when you apply it with other modalities. So I will use CBT with a client once I've done more than 6 sessions. It's
Is that
about
a short fix? Is that a short fix?
it is a short. Yeah, it can be
Sorry.
seen. Yeah, it can. My argument is, talking about it. CBT doesn't give you the opportunity to talk about your feelings or address the problem. All it does is say you're feeling like this, so we're going to change the way you think.
Yeah. All the tablets they're going to give you. Yeah. If you need any. Yeah. Oh yeah. It's like covering up a sore, isn't it? Put a plaster on it. You're going to be all right.
There are people who will say it's just a short-term fix. Therapists will say that. Professionals will say that. People who have gone through the system will say that. But if that's your route to at least having a short-term fix, then go with an open mind. And I was going to say enjoy. Take the experience with as much openness as you can, to then maybe think in 6 months' time, is the situation going to be different? Am I going to be in a better position? Are the counselling services that you've been to see going to be in a better position?
Yeah.
I take the view of, it's better than nothing.
Yeah.
It's better than nothing.
Yeah. But CBT is like a short fix, isn't it? It's not going to that's going to just do one level, isn't it, of counselling, really? Do you think so?
Yeah. It's not deep therapeutic counselling into sources, into feelings, into emotions. It's CBT is used very well for habits. You do this, we're going to change this habit, and we're going to change the habit by thinking about this.
Yeah. Okay. Alan here from Nottingham. Hi, Steve and Duncan. Good conversation tonight. Thank you very much. Where is Duncan's surgery to? I need to contact them. Tell you what, if you contact me right after, I will give you all his details to you, and that'd be good.
What I would say, Alan, is I used to have two surgeries. I used to have a surgery in Newark, and I used to have a surgery in Nottingham. What I have found is I can be more efficient by not having two surgeries, and it doesn't matter where you are. And I say this to anybody: it doesn't matter where you are, because I can see you in much the way as we're doing now,
Yeah,
over VoIP or peer to peer.
yeah. Good.
Online counselling is this time last year I would have been a little bit less enthusiastic. I did do it. There's an argument that says I and you as a client don't get the full benefit of body language, eye contact, so on and so forth. However, there are other benefits, particularly time wise. If you don't want to leave the house, then online is a great way of working therapeutically.
Of course it is. And I think, Alan, the trouble is at this moment in time, if you can't leave the house, Duncan and Louise are the people to speak to, and they can kind of like give you all the help you can. What we will do, I will send over all the information to you, and we will kind of, we'll get you connected as soon as we can. Do not worry, don't panic. Amanda wants to know. She's saying, Duncan, I've just kind of like lost my partner the other day of COVID. I'm sorry about that, Amanda. And I'm going through a really bad time at the moment. I've been to several counselling services in Coventry, and they're all full up because of this COVID thing, and people losing their jobs, as Steve said earlier, and other different matters. What can I do? I've got the money, but I live in Coventry.
Yeah. Again,
Online, isn't it? To you.
Yeah, we can do online. There are dig a bit deeper. So have a look at have a look online. Widen your search a little bit, okay, and see who you can find. Obviously, I don't know whether you're on the outskirts of Coventry, in which case you might want to even look at Birmingham or Warwick or Stratford or somewhere like that. But don't be put off. Carry on doing your research. I would say a good use of your time to find a counsellor you are comfortable with. And there will be people with availability. Let me tell you, there will be people with availability. Look at the website. Drop them an email. Get a stock email together that says, "Hi, this is what I'm going through. What can you offer me? This is where I am. How long is it going to take me to get to your clinic?" And I think you'll be surprised at some of the responses. Hopefully you'll get some really encouraging responses back. Just don't be put off that you maybe have gone to 2 or 3. The first 1 or 2 on Google. Some of the some of the really good independent. Might just be somebody who's working part-time as a therapist, still very, very good, might not be looking to take on a huge caseload.
But
Excuse
also
me.
check them out radio, Duncan, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. So first thing I'd recommend to anybody Do your research. Check them out online. Check them out on Facebook. Have they got a sort of, a business Facebook page? See what they're talking about and see whether that resonates with you. If you like that, brilliant. Drop them a line. The next thing will be, do they reply in a timely fashion? If they do, brilliant. We've got a good start there. Don't feel that you have to go to the first person who replies. This is about comfort. I was having a conversation this week with somebody, and I said, when we go shoe shopping, we choose 3 pair of shoes. We don't just choose one. And we sit down, we try them on. We try them on for comfort. We walk around, we look at the funny mirror by our feet, and it's not, we don't buy shoes very rarely. We don't buy shoes, possibly trainers, but we don't buy shoes just off the shelf because they look nice. We buy shoes because they offer us the comfort, the support. We stand correct. They're in the right price bracket. They're the right color. So many things go into that. And in the same respect, it's important that you do your due diligence to ensure that you find a counsellor that you are happy with. You do not have to go for the first person that comes back to you, and don't be put off by the fact that you've spoken to 2 or 3. Look at somebody who is a graduate. Look at somebody who is just started. We were all there. We all started. And just to be clear, a counselling graduate won't be somebody who has 0 hours. A graduate counsellor will have to have done 100 to 200 practice hours to actually qualify, and they'll have done that at a charitable organisation or a not-for-profit organisation. So just because they've just graduated doesn't mean that they're not a good therapist or even an experienced therapist. 200 hours might take somebody a year to gain if they're doing a course part-time, and they're working 3 hours a week at a charitable organisation. So that sort of commitment, is going to benefit you. Don't be put off that they might have just graduated. What you're looking for is to make sure they've got an accredited course behind them. I would say a minimum of a level 4, preferably a level 5, and they've got their practice hours, which is 200. Around 150 to 200 hours. And again, don't be afraid to ask. Ask where did you do your hours? Where did you do your practice? And a good, honest counsellor will go, yeah, I have just started, but I did my practice hours at, for me, it was the Children's Bereavement Centre in Newark. Stood me in brilliant stead, gave me great experience. So that when I was able to practice, and I started part-time, I didn't start at 0 hours. I started with enough hours to be credible and to be confident with. So look at these graduates, and a graduate may not be a young person, by the way. Somebody like me may have got into counselling into their 40s. So just because they're in their 40s or 50s, don't be put off that they only have 200 hours. They might have done 30 years in a completely different industry, which would be brilliant experience. That they might have been a manager somewhere, or they might have had, person-centered skills. They might have been a teacher or whatever, and they've got into counselling. So a graduate might not be somebody aged 21, 22. And actually, I'd probably say you know, does anybody possess the life skills, under 30 to be able to work with older people, or or actually talk therapeutically and empathize. So going back to the question of, who do I look for? Do research, ask the question, ask where you did your clinical hours, ask what qualification you've got. Are you accredited? Don't be put off if somebody says, I'm not accredited. If they've only got 200 hours and they're working part-time, chances are that they've not got round to accreditation yet, or they haven't got the number of hours required to have accreditation. But that doesn't make them a bad therapist, doesn't make them...
Sorry, excuse me.
Go for it.
Duncan, can cancelling be expensive? If someone goes to cancelling, can it be expensive?
What does expensive mean? One person's £70 is well spent. I don't charge £70 for my time, by the way, but I know some therapists who do.
Right.
For some people, buy value beans. Some people go to Waitrose and buy Waitrose beans. One person thinks one's cheap and one person thinks one's expensive, but it's choice and balance, isn't it? £40 typically is what I charge for an hour session. £40 could be expensive to somebody on minimum wage, for example.
Yeah, but 40... also £40 can save your life.
Exactly. £40 for the next 6 weeks could be that turning point in your life that actually makes you go, well, I spend that on beer and 2 takeouts a week. I can make lifestyle changes to find the money, and all of a sudden it doesn't become expensive. Expensive is a very subjective conversation to have. Like you say, can you put a price on somebody's life, or changing somebody's life?
Yeah, it can be hard, can it? So, what is the procedure then? If somebody, because I'm being asked here from Richard. Richard's saying, "Hi, Stephen Duncan, good chat tonight." So, what is the procedure of what I need to do for counselling? Do I just need to refer myself, or just ring up and ring up?
Yeah. So, there are fundamentally 2 routes, as we've discussed tonight. You can phone your GP and have a GP referral, and they might have an in-house service, or they might refer to an organisation like Active Listening Therapies. We don't work with GPs. It's nothing that we've ever explored. Anyway, or you can phone up yourself. There's nothing. You don't have to have a doctor's note or even a note from your work, your employer, to say, come and talk to us. Anybody can refer themselves to counselling.
Okay, so before we finish, Duncan, can you tell me your website address and how people can contact you, please?
Certainly. So the Active Listening Therapy site, www.activelisteningtherapies.com. You'll also find us on Facebook, activelisteningtherapies.com. I do have a personal counselling site, which is very easy to remember, which is www.think, THINK, thinkduncan.com. But if you type in my name, Duncan Ellison, counsellor, chances are that I will come up. You'll find us on Twitter. You'll find me on Twitter. You'll find Louise on Twitter. But if anybody's got any questions, direct your inquiry through Steve. Steve can put your inquiry through to me, and we can pick up the dialogue. Listen, it costs nothing to have that exploratory chat. It costs nothing to go, Duncan, Louise, I think this is how I'm feeling. I'm exploring counselling. A, can you fit me in? B, do you think I'm, right for your practice? C, do you think that we could make some changes that I need to make based on A, B, and C? It costs nothing to drop me an email, to drop me a text, and there's a reason why I only have a limited number of appointments a week, and that's so I can keep myself in a position where I'm ethically stable to work with everybody, but B, I can spend the time in going back to somebody to say, hey, thanks for reaching out to me, because there are a lot of people who say to me, I reached out to this particular service and they didn't get back to me. Well, we aim to get back to everybody at least within 24 hours. You'll find that if you send me something overnight, by 8, 9, 10 o'clock in the morning, you'll have a reply.
Good. So this is Duncan Ellison, and he's from Active Listening Therapies. Please contact him. All the details will be on our radio and also our website. Thank you, Duncan, as always.
My pleasure.
And if you need some counselling, or online counselling, it could save your life. Please contact Duncan at Active Listening Therapies. Duncan, thank you once again for all your help.
Always a pleasure.
And
see you next week.
Me. Brilliant. And in the meantime, I'm going to go, but we're going to go cross over to on the radio, where I think it's rock and roll, something like that. But in the meantime, I'll see you later on. Bye-bye.